Welcome back. I'm here with Suke, whose 13-year-old daughter suffers from a mood disorder. So you were saying before the break that she's in a school right now that has a program that she's really crazy about.
Yes.
What do you think she's getting out of this?
I think she's gaining a lot of confidence for herself.
Excellent.
She really loves it.
Let's take a look.
Nick.
It's a Friday afternoon, and Aundrea Suke is in her favorite class.
You know what else is nice? Use one hand to steady him.
She's one of a handful of students selected to participate in equine-assisted learning at Windrush Farm, a therapeutic riding center north of Boston that's been offering programs to the physically and emotionally challenged since 1964.
Horses are not going to put up with abuse. And so for a youngster to find out that he has to be gentle and careful and consistent, the horse is the best teacher you could have.
Windrush founder Marjorie Kittredge says the predictable nature of horses can teach behaviorally challenged kids to regulate their emotions.
Aundrea, is that better? Is he relaxing?
Yeah, because I'm patting him.
So he's going to be picking up what you're feeling.
Given the population of students that we work with here, it just seemed a very natural fit.
Sarah Seiler helped forge the partnership between Aundrea's school and Windrush because she believes equine therapy can help kids with a range of diagnoses and limiting beliefs.
I'm not good enough, I can't do this, the anxiety, the fear, the wrestling with maybe bipolar issues or depression issues, and they just kind of drop that at the barn door.
Can you put his growing box away? Yep, I can do that.
Responsibility is another lesson Windrush teaches. But what's especially therapeutic for Aundrea is that riding forces her to develop courage.
Susan, you come over here.
Okay.
Alan, you go right there.
Same old thing, right?
No, 1, 2, 3. My foot. Walk on.
She's been a pro. She, from the beginning, I'm afraid. I'm going to do this. I need to do this to not be afraid, and she goes through with it.
Oh my God.
For Aundrea, the effects of therapeutic riding extend beyond the farm.
Water found under the surface of the land is called what?
At her school, teacher Ben Rogers is beginning to notice changes in his usually tentative student.
Well, I'm noticing she's trying to take more risks. She's starting to raise her hand more often, not worrying about the wrong answer or the right answer.
The process in which water circulates from the oceans to the clouds to the land and then accumulates back into the oceans. What is that process called?
Water cycle.
Final answer? Yes, good job. All right.
But Aundrea's doing more than overcoming fears at Windrush. She's developing feelings for her favorite pony, Nick.
I really like him.
A simple sentiment Windrush hopes students like Aundrea begin to feel about themselves.
They very often come here and they're convinced they can't do anything right. And you know, when you're a little kid and you get on a big horse and you can control him, you can make him go forward, you can make him halt, and do all of this, you walk away from this thinking, maybe I'm not so bad. That's what I hope I'm giving them.
It's a lesson Aundrea is eager to learn. And we're joined by Aundrea Suke, as well as Mandy Hogan, the executive director of Windrush Farm, and Dr. Paul Spiers, a clinical neuropsychologist at Boston University School of Medicine and the past board president of the North American Riding for the Handicapped Association. Thanks so much to all of you for being here.
Pleasure to be here.
Welcome. So, Aundrea, is going to Windrush on Friday afternoons the best part of the whole week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet it is. It's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think you're really learning there?
Responsibility.
And what do you mean by that?
Because, just grooming them and everything like that.
Grooming them, you have to, remember to put the brushes away. You have to remember to feed them, right? You have to clean up the stalls afterwards. It's a lot of work. So in the piece, Mandy, Marjorie was saying, your founder, that horses are great teachers for kids like Aundrea because they don't put up with abuse. What do you think she meant by that?
It's
very true that horses react immediately to anyone that gets too rough with them. And for example, if somebody walks into the stall too quickly, they're going to back right away from whoever it is, if that's, if they're that aggressive. Horses give very black and white responses for things that you do to them, and so they paint a very clear picture. It's very easy to interpret what's happening, and it's very easy for somebody to point out that the horse is responding to your body language, and this is why.
And Dr. Spiers, I know there have been some studies that have shown that therapeutic riding can be beneficial for people with physical disabilities to help them improve mobility and balance. You actually use horses yourself as a form of physical therapy.
I was very fortunate to have a scholarship to ride at Windrush after my own spinal cord injury, and it was probably the best physical therapy I had in terms of improving my balance and independence.
But also you think that it can be beneficial for kids like Aundrea to help them with their emotional challenges. How is it more than just a pony ride?
Well, it's more than just a pony ride for a number of reasons. In fact, there's a whole section of our national organization called the Equine Facilitated Mental Health Association that looks specifically at how the working with horses can help children who have been abused or children suffering from emotional difficulties. And it's because working with an animal that's so powerful and yet so kind at the same time is a positive example for the individual. They learn important skills. It also is a chemical reaction that occurs in the brain as they're working with the horse. Well, obviously, as Aundrea herself said, she was pretty scared about being around a horse.
Right.
And when we're scared, we have an enormous release of adrenaline in our brain, so it alters the chemistry inside of our brain. And when we're successful at what's scaring us and we're no longer afraid, then there's a release of endorphins, which are the brain's way of saying, hey, good job, we're doing good today. So the brain then reinforces those learning patterns. So the individual is able to acquire those new skills and may gain more self-confidence.
Excellent. And have you noticed any changes, Elaine, since Aundrea has been in the program?
Yes, I have. It's been the one consistent thing that she's stuck with. She has tried other things before, but just never really wanted to stick with it in this.
And this, you want to stick around and keep going. Yeah. And Mandy, what's the main thing, beyond the grooming, beyond the tacking up, beyond riding, what's the main thing that you're really hoping to instill in these kids?
I think that building self-esteem and building self-confidence is the big thing. But above all is just to create success, to give these kids a chance to have success in their lives and revel in that. It's a wonderful program.
I want to thank you so much for being here, Dr. Spiers. I want to thank you for being here, Elaine, and you're going to stick around for the rest of the show, yes? And you too, Mandy.
Yep.
So take a wild guess. Who do you think our next guest is going to be? Aundrea and one of her classmates are going to give me a lesson in pony power.